don't think that you can handle this.
What's good, everybody? It's Warren Shaw, co-founder of 19 Media Group, and I'm encouraging you to stay tuned to everything 19 Media Group, especially my guys here, Hidden Gems Football, Mike and Mo, and I got the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl this weekend.
All right. Once again, we are on. He is the great Mike Stephs. I am the Mojo King. This is Hidden Gems Football, Super Bowl edition. Well, our second part of Super Bowl edition. This time with some friends. We'll get to the friends in a little bit. Mike Stephs, how are you doing? Not saying you're not my friend, of course.
You kind of got me stumped there, like Super Bowl with friends. Oh yeah, Mike Stephs, how you doing? Wow, I'm just Kibbovitz. But anyway, oh no, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just trying to fight off this little cold that I got from my little excursion in Charlotte. But yeah, I can't really complain. And before I forget, I'd like to give a shout out to my cousin Q. Happy 40th birthday. And shout out to you. Shout out to your daughter. Shout out to Kaka. That's his grandson. And shout out to the whole Lewis fam. So yeah, we had a great time down there. But that's my long-winded way of saying I'm good.
That's dope. Also, happy belated to TMB.
Yeah, happy 31st or 32nd. Yeah, I think it's 32nd. And if it isn't, I'm adding an extra year because he's still a young buck. But yeah, happy birthday to TMB. Tyler McDowell Blinken.
Yes. Speaking of friends of the podcast, the reason that this is titled Super Bowl with Friends is because we're going to have a poll going on who's going to win this Super Bowl. Like the spread says, it's going to be tight. So we have some people saying Chiefs. We have some people saying Eagles. But most importantly, we have people that we love, respect. We respect their talent. Each one of them, we endorse that you should dig in a little bit deeper and learn who they are. They'll be coming in and out through the segments. Speaking of segments, Mike Stephs, it is to you, your one big thing.
This topic of my one big thing, a little bit off the beaten path, but it's something that is very peculiar because of some of the attendees that's going to be at the Super Bowl. So Super Bowl 59 will be the first time since 2021 that the game will not feature the slogan "End Racism" stenciled on the back line of one of the end zones. You know, back in 2020 when everybody was, caring about BLM and whole nine, and, we got to make sure equality, and the NFL jumped on that train, and conveniently they stopped this time. So instead, Sunday's matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles will have Choose Love, and It Takes All of Us in the back of the end zones at the season Superdome. Now, I have one question. Is it because a certain commander-in-chief will be in attendance that in racism is not going to make its appearance for the first time in 3.5 years? Just a question. Listen, like I said, I'm not delving too deep into it. But that said, Commander-in-Chief will attend the game as a guest of New Orleans Saints owner Gail Benson, making him the first sitting U.S. president to watch a Super Bowl in person. I remember Reagan, Bush, Clinton, the whole nine, they would always get that phone call. But especially in the 80s, they would get that phone call. Now, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell maintained that the league would continue its DEI efforts. We got into diversity efforts because we felt it was the right thing for the National Football League, Goodell said this past Monday. And we're going to continue towards that because we've not only convinced ourselves, I think, we've proven ourselves that it does make the NFL better. Do you know, as recently as 2 years ago, Jim Trotter, NFL reporter that actually worked for NFL media, brought up 2 consecutive years about the lack of diversity in the NFL media. And sure enough, he was shown the door not too long after. And I believe he did file a lawsuit. But Goodell is in charge of all that. So take those words with a grain of salt. The NFL says it's made the change in light of the January 1st terror attack on Bourbon Street and recent wildfires in Southern California. Interesting that it was sparked by the collective awakening of a lot of corporate entities during the end of said Commander-in-Chief's first term in 2020, and fast forward 4 years later, upon his return, is conveniently going away. What are your thoughts on the matter? Do you believe it's just purely a coincidence? Do you believe that the person in attendance had some type of sway in the matter? Or do you want to take the task the NFL for not really eloquently explaining why they made this change on the biggest game of this season, this year, right after the administration change? Please feel free. Drop a line in the comments for your thoughts on this said action. And that is Mike Stephs, one big thing. Yeah.
Yo, it's Kanzzle. I represent the People's Liberation Movement. Earlier this year, Tampa Bay, Kansas City were playing. Tristan Wirfs, best tackle in football, got called for a hold because Tampa was stressing Kansas City, and you know he didn't hold nobody. So I say Kansas City with the win with the help from the refs.
Hi, I'm Robin, former Skills Foundation auxiliary member, also known as Chocolate Deluxe. Seriously, my name is Robin Williams. I am a behavioral and educational consultant here in Central Florida, and I'm going with the Eagles.
What's good, y'all? Y'all already know who it is. It's your man Kill with Apartment 5B Podcast. Y'all, I'm here with the boy Mojo the King, Hip Hop Gems Football. You already see who I'm going for on Sunday with the big game. Eagles, you know what I mean? We bringing this joint back to the crib.
All right, it is time to talk about Super Bowl 59. The Kansas City Chiefs, who were 15-2 in the regular season, are playing the Philadelphia Eagles, who were 14-3 during the regular season in New Orleans. The Chiefs are 1-point favorites. The projected total is 48.5. Now, before we go any further, in some places, the Chiefs are 1.5-point favorites, and the projected total is 49.5. If you're betting, look for the better line for you. But as a 1-point favorite and 48.5 points, that means that Vegas is telling us the Chiefs will score 24 3/4, while the Eagles score 23 3/4. As far as injuries, both teams come in pretty healthy. For Kansas City, the one question mark is Sky Moore. He's been on the IR with an abdomen strain. He's in his practice window, which means it's possible he can come back, but he's been limited in practice. We'll have to see. I think there's a good chance he won't play. Last week, I mentioned McCole Hardman, who is also in his practice window. His window has closed. He is not coming back. For the Eagles, the one major injury that they had coming into this game was Kenny Gainwell, the backup running back, was in concussion protocol. He's back practicing in full. Meanwhile, a wide receiver, Devonta Smith, has a hamstring injury. He's been limited in practice, but I think he's been having that limited practice pretty much the whole playoffs. He looks like he's fine. And lastly, defensive end Brandon Graham is in his own practice window from the IR with a torn tricep. He's having limited practice, but it looks like he will come off the IR, which may be big for the Eagles defense, which is already pretty strong. Mike, Steph, usually I would just kick it to you and say, who do you like? But since this is a Super Bowl, let's focus one team, then the next. Let's start with Kansas City. What do you have to say about Kansas City?
What up, sports fans? I'm Kevin L. Warren, host of the Sports Chasers podcast, where we bring you real sports talk with no hot takes and no narratives. Check us out on YouTube and all podcast platforms. And my Super Bowl pick, Fly, Eagles, Fly. See you on the show.
Hey,
Lisa. Question. What are you doing Sunday?
watching the Kendrick concert? What are you doing?
Don't you mean the Super Bowl?
Good luck to the Eagles while they watch the Kendrick concert.
Well, yeah. Go Team Eagles.
Hey guys, it's Brad Winchester from the Gimmick Infringement podcast. I am taking the Eagles. I am taking the under 48.5, and I'm taking Saquon anytime touchdown scorer.
The Chiefs are one game away from immortality. A win this Sunday in the Super Bowl will give them the first ever three-peat. A 15-2 season, followed by what has been their signature trait this season, close one-score games, aided by some incredibly fortuitous breaks, have brought them to this point. Mahomes, in my opinion, I ain't gonna lie, is the GOAT. Andy Reid is one of the greatest coaches ever. Kelsey brings the pop star crowd. And the defense led by Chris Jones and strategies born by Steve Spagnuolo are constants. Here are some interesting stats. The Chiefs are 49-11, 9-0 in the playoffs since the start of the 2022 regular season. Chiefs coach Andy Reid and quarterback Patrick Mahomes are teaming up for their 21st postseason game together, boasting a record of 17-3. 4 Super Bowl appearances and 3 Super Bowl rings. Mahomes was the MVP of Super Bowls, of the Super Bowls that he won. He has 7 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in his 4 Super Bowl appearances, which is interesting because for as great as he's been in the regular season and as great as he's been in the postseason, only up until the second half of the first Super Bowl against these Eagles did he really. He always struggled. He struggled against the 49ers the first time, and then he pulled it out. He got smashed by the Bucs. No fault of his own. He just didn't have an offensive line. He didn't have a fighting chance. And then he got off to a slow start against the Eagles the first time. But 7 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in 4 Super Bowl appearances belie the greatness that he has. That's my side of the margin. How about you?
All right. I'm going to talk about this briefly because this might leak into something we're going to talk about later. But as far as Kansas City goes, my big thing about Kansas City is who exactly is going to step up. Now, we know Mahomes is Mahomes, but the rest of the team is kind of an enigma. Kelsey had a big first game in the playoffs, 7 catches, 117 yards, and a touchdown, and then didn't do much the second game. Only 2 catches, 19 yards. Isaiah Pacheco is their starting running back, but Kareem Hunt has been doing most of the work. He's not going to run off and make a big play. DeAndre Hopkins, who I would argue might be a Hall of Famer, has had 1 catch in the playoffs. Hollywood Brown, who since he's come back, Kansas City has looked better on offense. But in his 4 games back, he only has 12 receptions for 126 yards total with no touchdowns. This team continues to win. This team continues to show up. Somebody always seems to be in the right place at the right time to make the right play. But in this game, I have to wonder, who will it be?
My name is Elise. I am the host of Auntie Outside, the podcast, and content for all things Jacksonville, Florida. I'm going to go with Team Chiefs this week. I mean, why not? Let's go for a 3-peat. Follow me on all social media platforms under Auntie Outside or Mr. Feroz.
It is me, Larry Anderson, here again. But we ain't talking wrestling, we talking football. I'm giving love to my boys, Mojo King and the one and only Mike Stephs for the Super Bowl picks. And they ask who I'm going to pick, you go with winners. So we got to go with the Red Kingdom.
I am Christopher Negron. That's Derrick Myers. And of course, that's Johnathan Tirado. We're with the Sideline Guys representing OTS Media Co. And I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm going with the Eagles, obviously.
Hey, I'm going with the Eagles too. The boy's going to do it.
All right, Hidden Gems Football is, of course, talking about betting and finding the right choices. As Mike Stephs tries to make me laugh, it is impossible. I am a professional here. I have to say that since we're talking about betting and picking the right players, there may be no better place to go than Prize Picks. Don't you agree, Mike Stephs?
I definitely agree. You know, the big game is almost here, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last football game of the season with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the big game. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks is also giving away a free pick for the big game, where one of the starting quarterbacks will only need to throw 1 yard to win. If you're correct on at least one more stat projection, you can win real cash. Check out the promo tab to tell any of our Super Sweat Millie winners big game lineups. If you tell a lineup that goes 3 for 3, you can win a split of $1 million in promo funds. For the big game, Patrick Mahomes only needs 1 passing yard for you to win 1 square. Philadelphia versus Kansas City, the big game. Will Saquon Barkley rush for more than 112.5 yards? Will Jalen Hurts pass for more than 215.5 yards? Will Travis Kelce have more than 62.5 receiving yards? Will Xavier Worthy have more than 56.5 receiving yards? Just download the app and use the code CLNS, as Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money and it's quick at 15 minutes. Remember, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Power to the picks.
Power to picks.
What up, what up? Desmond Powell here, host and creator of Hip to the Games. And if you want more H2DG content, be sure to hit the links in the show notes of this episode. Shout out my OGs, Mo and Mike, Steph. For the big game, I'm rolling with the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think that birthday boy gonna get the MVP too.
Me being a Giant fan, you know I can't stand the Eagles. Who cares about the Super Bowl? All I want to see is the commercials. But you know what I'm looking forward to? Mets pitchers and catchers. Starts Wednesday the 12th. Let's go Mets. Welcome home, Pete.
Hi, my name is Tiffany, coming to you from Bridgeport, Connecticut. And my prediction for the Super Bowl this year will be the Eagles, because we don't want to have to hear Travis Kelce sing another Beastie Boys song. We've suffered enough. Go Eagles. And shout out to Mo, the 19 Media Group. Ciao.
All right, Mike, Steph, let's move on to the Eagles. What you got to say about them?
So tired of this team. I swear. Why can't they have a rebuilding season? Why can't they have a rebuilding period? The Eagles. 2 of the last 3 years, I have to talk about them way more than I feel like talking about them. Pretty much to the end of the last game of the season. But you know what the best part about it is? Is if they lose, they'll string their whole fan base along for all these extra weeks just to stab them in the heart. And then you'll be just like the rest of the 31 other teams sitting at home, except for the fact that you had to put your bodies where you had to put your bodies and your mental stress through extra games for nothing. For nothing. That's what the Philadelphia Eagles fans deserve. But is it me? Or is this game just lack the buzz of Super Bowl pass? Like, why is that? Is it the public's short attention span and boredom with the Chiefs' historic run? Or the Eagles just a bland team, sans Saquon Barkley's redemption arc? Is it the fact that most neutral watchers were pulling for someone new and wish that the Lions made the run expected of them? Myself included, because I predicted at the very beginning of the season, Chiefs and Lions in the Super Bowl. Oh, at least I was half right. Yeah, I could say I was half wrong, but nobody's worried about the negative. Or could it be that the Bills, we really wanted the Bills to finally get over the hump and return to the grand stage for the first time in 32 years? I don't know. Still a question. It's the fact that this is a matchup that we just saw 2 years ago. Different personnel, but same setup. Last time, these Eagles beat a bunch of nobodies in their lead up to the big game. So they came into that game with a lot of question marks. And I'm not going to lie, they damn near pulled it out. I mean, Jalen Hurts, they had a great game. But this year, Is it really that much different? I don't know. They beat a rookie whose team was overwhelmed by the magnitude of the occasion in the championship game. Their road was aided by the elimination of the top-seeded Detroit Lions, and that allowed them to have all their contests in the comfy confines of the link. Their victims read as follow: 22-10 win over the Green Bay Packers in the wild card round, a close 28-22 victory over the Rams in the snow, and finally a dominating 55-23 triumph over their division rivals, the Washington Commanders, in the NFC Championship game. I don't know how I've gotten this far and not mentioned the MVP of the team, who I like to say is the real MVP of the league, even though as of this recording, we know who the real MVP of the league is, and that would be Josh Allen, whose jokes I will refrain from saying on this platform, and maybe I'll save them for some salty thoughts. I don't know. But the real MVP of this season, both on the league and the team, is Saquon Barkley. Where would this team be without him? Is Jalen Hurts that dude this year that he was in the past? Nope. Is Nick Sirianni truly an elite coach? You know what? As much as I'm going to laugh, I'd say not. Like even the results kind of speak for themselves when it comes down. 2 Super Bowls in 3 years is impressive. Is A.J. Brown long for this Philly situation? Probably not. I could see him very easily trying to demand a trade to get to New England to reunite with Mike Vrabel up there, which will make my job that much harder because then we'll have to deal with A.J. Brown 2 times a year. But that's neither here nor there. The Jets, and even though they're doing some good moves, different color green. The defense is stout and at times dominant, headed by defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. But here's another interesting stat. Do you know that Pat Mahomes is 8-0 against Vic Fangio teams in his career? Does that streak come to an end? All these questions will be answered in one fashion or another. So, what's your take on these Eagles?
The Eagles are interesting, and I have questions, but for a different reason. They have a very structured offense. You know who you have to beat. Saquon, Jalen, amongst the leaders of that. Of course, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith on the outside, who's particularly interesting against Kansas City. And then Dallas Goedert has been very strong as of late. They have that solid core. But the interesting thing about them is A.J. has been pretty quiet during this playoffs. And in fact, I went back and listened to us 2 years ago, and we were saying the same thing about A.J. Brown being quiet during the playoffs. They're coming off of their best game of the season. They demolished the Commanders. But it kind of overlooked that they weren't really playing that well those first 2 rounds in the playoffs. They won, but they were all right. So which team is going to show up this time? Obviously, you're playing against the Chiefs. You're playing against the champions. As Mr. MVP once said, to be the best, you have to beat the best. To be the champion, you have to beat the champion. I was calling Ric Flair the first time. So, will Philadelphia bring their A game? I would argue that they have so much talent. If they bring their A game, they will be champions.
What's going on, HCF fam? It's one half of Gimmick Infringement, the self-proclaimed face of 19 Media, TMB. Yeah. Philly, 31. Mahomes, 38.
What's up, everyone? It's your boy, Cal Gameface Lee of the Baseline NBA podcast. I'm rolling with the Chiefs. Dynasty means something. They'll be the first team to three-peat.
Word, D. Smith here. WordLife1/YouTube.com. Shout out to Hidden Gems Football Podcast. Birds.
Let's go Eagles. I got family from Philadelphia, so I'm going for the Philadelphia Eagles this year for the Super Bowl. My Raiders didn't make it this time around. Tune into OrlandoMagicHQ.com for all news related to Orlando Magic. My name's Stephen Cameron, and I'm with the HQ. Peace.
Which brings us back to our main point, Mike Steph. Who do you have, and what do you think about that point spread?
I've been going back and forth on my selection this week, especially off the heels of having our special guest, Steve Dundales, last week. And I do really respect his opinion. his pick was Eagles over the Chiefs 26-22. And especially rewatching that episode, I was like, you know what? Steve more often than not is on the money. I really don't want to pick against Patrick Mahomes because I thought if anything last year was going to be the year that they stubbed their toe and didn't get there, and they didn't. And this year it's been one victory after another. It's almost like they're a team of destiny. At the same time, like, has it worked this way for them to get to this point and still come up that much short? Similar to back in 2007 when the Patriots were going for the undefeated season and they were rolling through the regular season. And then toward the end of the season, they started slowing down a little bit. You know, they got there and everybody just thought it was a fait accompli that they was going to be 17-0. And the Giants said, ain't going to happen. So I'm weighing that in my mind. And at the same time, do I really want my bias? Do I really want the Eagles to be the one to stop a three-peat? Do I really have that much animosity toward the Chiefs that I would really care if they were the ones that made history? I mean, I can't even go based on light skin slander because, you know, you got Jalen Hurts and you got Patrick Mahomes. Like, they ain't two peas in the pie. At least Jalen Hurts kind of model, like, you know, Patrick got a little gut. And anyway, so these are things I'm trying to use as tiebreakers. I'm saying all this because I'm still trying to figure out who I'm going to win. But I'm not going to lie, my lack of enthusiasm for this game, for this lead up, has just been glaring. It's been glaring all over the place to the point that the NBA is taking over this week with all their trades. So it would be kind of apropos that this would be the time that the Chiefs would win a three-peat and it would kind of be somewhat under the radar. So I'm going to go Chiefs -1. I'm going to have them win. The over-under, even though it was a high-scoring game last time, I'm thinking, matter of fact, F it. I'm going over. So Chiefs -1, over-under, over.
Before I get into my selections, just real quick, the public so far has been a pro-Eagles. I believe they're at 55% of bets, according to DraftKings. For me, much like you, you know, it's basically so even that I was kind of stuck in where to do. Let me rephrase that. It's not really even for me. Philadelphia's the better team. They have the offensive players that scare you. Their defense is the best in the league. Kansas City just seems to know how to win. But again, who's going to step up?
This might be the Noah Gray game.
Exactly. It really might. It really might. And it's funny you say that because this comes down to my theory. As much as I think Philadelphia is better, I also thought Buffalo was better last week. And it comes down to the same thing. Patrick Mahomes finds a way. The guy is literally looking like Barry Bonds to me. Like he's playing a level above everybody else. Now, in football, that's not supposed to work. Because in baseball, you can hit a home run. You're going to score a run. Football, he still needs somebody to catch the ball. But for some reason, he always seems to find the one that's going to make that play. And I have to feel like until Kansas City teaches me otherwise, I'm going to keep betting on them. I'm going to keep betting on Mahomes. I think they're going to three-peat. I got them -1. As far as the over-under, the masses are way on the overside, and I completely see it. But my scenario is that it stays close, a low-scoring game with Mahomes leading them to win later, and it's staying under. Mike, Steph, I told you I looked back at our last few picks. We've been really good at getting the team right. The spread, not as much. So at least we split it. One of us will be right this time, unless they actually do score half a point.
Even while you're talking about, I was about to interrupt you, like, I changed my pick. Then I'm like, no, I'm going to stand on my conviction because my heart is pulling for Saquon. It's just I just can't pick the Eagles, and I'm letting everybody know it's a disclaimer. Like, listen, it's strictly biased because if I was really thinking with my head, I might pick the Eagles. I just can't stand them. I don't like the green. I don't like the All
right. Mike, Steph, we are at the prop section.
Okay.
I think we both kind of have the same thought this year. I'm really excited about this episode because we've had friends and people that we highly respect on this show with us. But I have to say, this prop market is not exciting me in the slightest. Did you see anything interesting?
Nope. Not a one. I looked around and none of the props really. I remember, was it last year? Yeah, I think it was last year. I think we had a whole about 15 minutes of hidden gem props, if you will. This year, I looked around. I did a little quick glance to prep for this episode, and I'm like, no, all these are just supposedly slickly worded parlays. So I'm like, but I want to see. You know what prop bet I'm quite sure they have. If we look closely enough, how many times Kendrick Lamar is going to play Not Like Us? Or how many screenshots are they going to get of celebrities saying the part A minor? I wonder. I mean, we've talked off air about our feelings on people outside of the culture really harping on this particular song, not even realizing that you're kind of one of the people he's talking about. You're not like us. But I had to throw that in there because Kendrick Lamar is recorded. I mean, is performing with SZA. Yeah, so the prop bets, I'm not gonna lie, I refrain. I'll leave the floor. I'll give the floor totally to my partner because I'm going to sit back here with Stitch and watch the show.
Well, unfortunately, I don't have much either. I will point out that DraftKings has something pretty interesting going on. I haven't done it yet, so I'm not sure if they're combining it, but I think they are. So they have a bonus bet that if you put up for a touchdown, anytime touchdown, which means a player just scores at any point, they have a match. They match your bet. So if you bet on somebody, you miss it, they'll give you your money back as another bet. So you basically get a free bet out of it. If you miss, obviously, if you win, take the money. I think that they have a low limit on it. It might be $5, $10, something like that. They also have a thing that if you hit one of those bets, I believe it might be the first touchdown. I should have looked into it a little bit more because there's only one, but you can split a share of $5 million. Now, the thing about that is you have to figure Saquon Barkley, Travis Kelce, those are the people that you would expect to get that touchdown. Understand that $5 million is going to mean literally pennies to you. So I am going to bet a little bit of a longer shot and just hope I get lucky. The two that I am looking at, one, DeAndre Hopkins. He's done, as I think I mentioned earlier, nothing in this playoffs. But if they're in close, he can get a little bit of room and he will fight for any ball. And I think Mahomes might just give him a chance at it. And then the bigger one is, because I do my research, somebody who's had interestingly strong games these last two games that they've played against Philadelphia, one in the Super Bowl and then one in the season after, both in 2023, is Justin Watson. Obviously, he is their backup. He's probably about their fifth string wide receiver at this point. But I think that he does have a chance to do something. Put a small bet there, put a small bet there, put a little bit bigger bet, possibly, on Kansas City just to win. And, if Kansas City wins, then I'll end up ahead. And if one of those hit, then, I could join you on your cruise.
Listen, I swear, I don't know if she watches it, but Danielle, thank you for the round robin tips. Because like I said, you help pay for a third of my trip. But help me win a third of my trip. Look, 26 years, February 16th. 31 years next month. Let's get that right. Because like I said, it might not be no 27th. if I word it differently. Be in the doghouse for real, right, Stitch? Yeah. I swear, I miss Stitch. See, he made a reappearance for all the Stitch fans out there. I truly appreciate it, and Stitch appreciates it. Next week, hopefully, we'll have Jetty back.
Well, you know what? I did forget one thing. DraftKings is not the only one to look at. You should look at FanDuel, even though I don't. Still. You should definitely look at Prize Picks if you're in a state that can do it. But I will point out Caesars, they have a prop bet combination that I kind of did like. They have Xavier Worthy plus 50 yards and a touchdown at 2.5 to 1. So you basically double your money plus another 50%. I did like that because Worthy's been coming through pretty strong towards the end of the season and into the playoffs. So if I was going to think that one Kansas City player would step up, he is probably the most likely.
And he's been proven to get the benefit of the doubt from the officials.
I knew you'd come back to that.
Listen, I'm sorry. The ball was clearly on the ground.
First and foremost, before I kick it to you, once again, thank you for all that helped contribute to this episode. We deeply appreciate it. We appreciate you. We hope that anybody out there listening will check out some of our friends because they're really talented folks. Rappers, producers, podcasters, artists. We're all over the place.
Yeah, you were just talking about me.
Yeah, you too.
No, I'm just kidding.
But remember, I was talking about our friends, and you know.
No. I'm
and
sorry.
then there's Mike Stephs.
That was a bad time for a joke.
I tell you what, my friend, I will get you focused back. You know how?
Huh?
Friend of the show. All right, Mike Stephs, take us home.
This was a great edition of Hidden Gems Football. Super Bowl, super duper Super Bowl edition of Hidden Gems Football. Until somebody had to make an appearance with their scrawny neck and their wide mouth. Anyway, no, but like I said, like Mo said, we appreciate everyone who's contributed. We appreciate everyone who has been a solid supporter, and even to the new people that have joined the bandwagon, the mothership, if you will, of Hidden Gems Football. We appreciate each and every one of y'all for your patronage and your support. And unlike last year, we have one more episode. Usually, this is our season finale. Usually, we do the Super Bowl picks, and then we're gone. We might pop up for a free agency thing like we did last year, but most of the time, you don't see us again until training camp. But we got one more episode in which I guess we'll probably recap the Super Bowl and probably just have a lot of fun. Yeah. But yeah, so I can't even really wrap up the season because we got one more episode. So with all that being said, Hidden Gems Football has been a part of the Media Group. Goodbye.
The chicken.
I said what I said last week, and I mean it.
This is a 19 Media Group presentation.
Me and Mo still have the same. We have similar things when it comes to letting go of the seasons. Mine's just in the box. It just hasn't been removed.
Let's see, this way. That one right there.
Yeah, right.
Still Christmas in the house.
Yeah, right there. He's standing on business like y'all know what time it is. Don't even question me.
Yep. It's gonna be Christmas till March.
Oh yeah, somebody want to stitch. So I want to make sure I got stitch right here. Because when that blasted chicken comes out, I got my antidote.
Mike Stephs dropping knowledge with the Mike Stephs one big thing. This might be your best one yet, brother.
See, I didn't bring it back just because. I had to bring it back for substance.
Respect.
Hopefully that chicken went down. You know, on a serious note, you know, I was just watching Fox 5 News, and they said, case of the bird flu. No, not humans, but chickens. They had to close down a spot in Astoria. They had to close down a spot, live chickens in in the Bronx, and Hoku was out there talking about, we're just being precautionary measures, and here you are, bringing a chicken on HGF every week. I'm going to send Hoku to your house.
That's because we're sick.
Okay.
With a torn tricep, wow. It's the consonants. I can't do it. Short shoulder, torn tricep. I can't do it. I just can't say it.
Twice.
With the tricep.
Drake May is a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Interesting side note, Drake May didn't know you actually get paid to go to the Pro Bowl.
But yeah, that chicken, I swear, if I ever see that chicken in person, I'm going to have some safety scissors with me. And just off the head.
I don't know if I told you this before. There's actually 3 of them. So I could bring the second one if you like. Maybe make you feel a little bit better.
There's 3 of them?
There's 3 of them.
Why is there 3 of them?
I don't know. It was a deal. They never die. They just multiply.
Yeah, like baby's kids.
Yes.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You got baby chickens.
All right, we're back. Oh, no.
And we're gone.